Learn English super easy with Curso de English podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Curso de English podcast. Today, we are focusing on the most stressful skill for almost every student, listening. Reading is easy because the words stay on the page. You can look at them for 5 minutes. But listening, the words fly away instantly. You hear a stream of noise and your brain panics. You think, why do they speak so fast? Why do they eat the letters? Today, we are going to slow down the world. We are going to decode the secret rules native speakers use to speak fast, specifically connected speech and weak forms. We will train your ears to hear the spaces between the words.
I am definitely in panic mode when I listen to native speakers. When I listen to this podcast, I understand everything because you speak clearly. But when I watch a movie or talk to an American tourist, it sounds like one long, alien word. Wadioanato, to me, that sounds like nonsense. I try to translate every single word in my head, but by the time I translate the first word, they are already on the 10th word. I get lost, I get frustrated, and I just smile and nod like a bobblehead doll. I need to learn how to stop translating and start actually hearing the rhythm.
That bobblehead nod is a classic survival tactic. The reason you can't understand wadioanato is because you are looking for 4 separate words. What do you want to do? But in spoken English, we glue words together. This is called connected speech. Rule 1. Consonant plus vowel linking. When a word ends in a consonant like stop, and the next begins with a vowel like it, we join them. Stop it becomes stop it. Turn it on becomes turnitin. Your brain is looking for turn, it, on, but your ears hear turnitin. Today, we are going to practice hearing these links so they don't surprise you anymore.
Turnitin, it sounds like the name of a robot. The Turnitin 3000. Okay, so I need to stop expecting spaces. I need to expect chains. What about the sounds that disappear? Sometimes I see a word like camera, but I hear camera, or family becomes family. I learned family 3 syllables, but native speakers say family 2 syllables. Is this laziness, or is it a rule? Because if I say family carefully, people look at me like I am a robot. I want to sound human, not like a GPS navigation system.
It is not laziness, it is efficiency. We call this elision deleting sounds. In English, the rhythm is crucial. We stress the important words nouns, verbs, and we squeeze the function words prepositions, articles. This leads to the schwa sound // This is the most common sound in English. It sounds like a weak to becomes ta, for becomes fur. A cup of tea, a cup of tea. If you expect to hear of of, you will miss it. You must listen for the I want to go, I want to go. I am going to eat, I'm gonna eat. This is why English sounds fast. We are compressing 50 of the words into tiny noises.
The schwa, it sounds like a punch in the stomach. So fish and chips becomes fish and chips. The and disappears. Black and white, black and white. This helps me understand why I can't hear the grammar words. I am listening for and, but the speaker just makes a tiny noise. Okay, let's practice this. You say a fast sentence using schwa and linking, and I will try to decode it. Give me a hard one. A sentence with lots of prepositions and articles. I want to test my ears.
Challenge accepted. Listen carefully. I will say it at native speed 3 times. I was gonna go to the store for a bit. Fast version. I was gonna go to th store for a bit. Did you hear the schwas? Was, to ta, for fur. Only the words go, store, and bit were clear. This is the secret. Listen for the stress. Don't try to hear every word. Listen for the peaks, go, store, bit. Your brain can fill in the valleys. The grammar automatically.
I was gonna go to th store for a bit. Wow, it really is a melody. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. If I focus on go, store, bit, I understand the meaning perfectly. Movement, shop, small time. I don't need to hear was or for to understand the message. This is liberating. I don't need 100 hearing accuracy. I just need 50 accuracy on the right words. This is the keyword strategy, right? Ignore the small stuff, grab the big stuff.
Exactly. Stop being a perfectionist. Be a keyword hunter. Now let's tackle another listening nightmare. Numbers, specifically the teens versus the ties. 13 versus 30. 14 versus 40. 15 versus 50. Native speakers slur these. That'll be 13.50. Did they say 13 or 30? The secret is the stress. For teen 13 to 19, the stress is on the end. 13. For tie 30 to 90, the stress is on the start. Third tie. 14 versus 4 tie. If you listen for the punch of the stress, you will never pay the wrong price again.
Stress on the end for teens, stress on the start for ties. 15 up, 50 down. Okay, let's test it. Say a price. I will tell you if it is the teen price or the tie price. This is important because 19 is very different from 90. If I am in a taxi and I pay 90 instead of 19, I will cry. So, give me a number. Make it tricky.
Okay, listen closely. The flight costs $1,400. Did I say 14 or 40? Listen again, 14. The stress went up at the end, so it is 1400. Now try this one. He is 50 years old. The stress went down at the start. 50, so it is 50. Also, listen for the T sound. In American English, the T in 40, 50, 60 often sounds like a soft D, flap T. 40, but in 14, the T is usually clear and strong. 14.
$40. Yes, Americans turn T's into D's all the time. Water, waiter. Letter, letter. Butter, butter. This flap T is very confusing. If I say water with a strong T, water, everyone understands me. But when they say waiter, I think they are talking about a waiter in a restaurant. How do I distinguish writer, person who writes, from rider, person who rides? He is a good writer versus he is a good writer. In American English, they sound almost identical.
That is a master-level question. The flap T makes writer and rider sound very similar. The clue is actually in the vowel length. Before a voiced consonant like D in rider, the vowel is longer. Rider. Before a voiceless consonant like T in writer, the vowel is shorter. Writer, quick I, rider long, writer short. It is subtle, but context usually helps. If someone is on a horse, they are a rider. If they are holding a pen, they are a writer. Context is your best friend.
Context is king. I won't panic about the vowel length too much. Now let's talk about minimal pairs. These are words that are different by only one sound. The most famous and dangerous one, sheet versus sh*t, or beach versus b*tch. I am terrified of saying the bad word, but also listening. I want a clean sheet on my bed. I want to go to the beach. What is the difference in the sound? To me, they both sound like E versus I.
This is the long I slash versus short I slash battle. Long I smile, stretch your lips wide, tension in the mouth. Sheet, beach, eat, seat. Smiling sound, short I relax, drop your jaw slightly, no tension. It sounds closer to A. Shit, bitch, it, sit. If you smile when you say beach, you are safe. If you relax and say bch, you are in trouble. When listening, listen for the length and the pitch. The long I is higher and longer. The short I is lower and quicker. Please take a seat. Long, sit down. Short.
Smile for the beach, relax for the other word. I want to sit on the seat. Sit, short, relaxed. Seat, long, smiling. Okay, I will practice smiling like a crazy person every time I talk about the ocean. What about can versus can't? I can do it. I can't do it. In American English, the T in can't is often silent, they stop the air. I can't. So I can go and I can't go sound the same. How do I know if you are agreeing or refusing?
This is the hardest listening test in English. The secret is again in the vowel reduction. Positive can, we reduce it to schwa, I can go. Very weak, very fast. Negative can't, we stress it. The vowel is strong slash knt slash. I can't go. Strong, longer, higher pitch, so I can do it. Positive weak, I can't do it. Negative strong. If you hear a clear aaa sound, it is usually negative. If you hear a tiny sound, it is usually positive.
That is the opposite of what I expected. I thought the negative word would be shorter, but the negative word is stronger. I can't help you. Strong A. I can't help you. Weak that is a lifesaver. Okay, let's talk about H dropping. I saw him versus I saw I am tell her versus tell er. I often miss the pronouns because the H disappears. Did you see I am? I think see 'em means see them. So him and them sound the same. See I am vs see 'em. Is there a difference?
Yes, him becomes I am, short I sound. Them becomes schwa a sound. I like I am him one man, I like Them plural, the vowel is different, I am versus am. But honestly, in fast speech, they are very close. Again, context helps. If we are talking about John, I like I am refers to John. If we are talking about the Beatles, I like am refers to the group. Don't get stuck on the H, just expect pronouns to be invisible. Pronouns are function words, so they get crushed by the rhythm.
Crushed by the rhythm. Poor pronouns. Okay, we have covered connected speech, linking, schwa, numbers 13 versus 30, minimal pairs, seat/sit, can't, and H dropping. My brain is full of sounds. But I still struggle with accents. British versus American vs Australian. Water, American, water. Water, British, wota, they drop the R. Water, Australian, wada. How do I train my ear for different accents? Should I focus on one, or listen to all of them?
I recommend focusing on standard American or standard British RP first, depending on your goal. Once you master one, the others become variations. However, global English is the reality. You will talk to Germans speaking English, Chinese people speaking English, etc. In part 2, we will do a global listening challenge. I will mimic different accents and speeds, and you have to guess what I am saying. We will also talk about filler words, like, you know, and how to ignore them to find the meaning.
Like, you know. The viruses of language. I am ready for the challenge. Let's take a break and come back to tune our ears to the global frequency.